All right, and we are live. Welcome to part 3 of the journey to for the visual editor. We are going to make we're going to add animations in the diagram editor. Also, outside of the camera, outside of the stream, I also did quite some refactoring to make sure that my code base was a little bit more cleaner. And I can quickly show you the small additions that I created in my visual editor. I have now a toolbar on the left, so you don't have to remember all the shortcuts, which makes I can tell that now the editor is way more easier to use. So, for example, if I am now adding I have now a toolbox that you can switch between adding a note or adding a line. If you're adding a note here, then you can just easily drag things around. Also, if you look at my mouse cursor on the right, then it also gives nice descriptions on it. The other thing that is being added is that in here you have the already the line, which was already existing in the previous one. But a big difference now is that if I'm right click, you have now way more options, which is way better. And in here, we are having we can add an add arrow, an end arrow, and a start arrow. So if I'm now clicking done, then you can see that we can add pointers inside it. Which is, that's the whole point of a diagram, right? Otherwise, with just simple lines, then it's going to be a bit boring. Also, you can change the arrow size. You can put the degrees of an arrow size. You can also wave it a bit like, hello. But that's not the only thing. That you can also just make a small description on it. Like, hello. Now you have a nice description on the line. And of course, you can also change the color of the line. And of course, you can also change the text size. And the nice part is that if I'm rotating it, it always makes sure that it's not upside down, which was a little bit of a challenge. But it works. Also, another nice addition that I added is that if I'm now just going to delete this one and I am going to add the note, then I can also change the background color of this note, basically, and I can change and I can enable it by turning on the alpha. So there you go. And let me just give it a nice color. Doesn't really matter. There you go. And I can also then give this one another color, like this. Don't, whoa, that's too bright. Let's make it a bit darker. There you go. All right. So you can, if I'm now dragging it over, and this is the reason why I was putting it with a background color. You can also now, with page up and page down, you can put it behind it or at front of it. So that way you can have complete full control on your diagrams. Also, just a nice example to see what you can build with it. I prepared just a funny diagram. There you go. And you have, ta-da! There you can make things like this. Also, you probably already see me doing it. And this is also a nice part, and a nice addition, is that you can zoom in, zoom out, and with the middle mouse button you can drag around and reposition the position of it. And if you are, for example, just dragging and you are completely lost, then you have this button, reset zoom and position, boom, and it resets the position. So that's what I did on basically on my weekend. Because I thought I was at the point that I was able to do the documentation, but I still didn't have time to add the documentation. I was just having too much fun adding small additions on the editor. So, but the real benefit from this is that we at least have now something better to work with. But and also I did a refactoring on the whole logic system itself. Let me reload it and allow me to explain the issue. So what was the original issue? So we have a class which is called the main game object, and let's clear this one out. And we have the editor. So in here, and that's called this is basically the one let's make it clear that this is a game object. Game object. There you go. So, and this one is taking care of this. And then also we have visual node types, which is called visual node, which is an interface, and that can be the node or the line now, but we can extend it in the future, which is an interface. There you go. So I keep talking now, but the thing is that what was now the main problem? The main problem was that there was no real place where the data there's no real central place where the data is coming from. Some parts, like the name of the diagram, was coming from here, but all the node values were coming from here. So what you ended up is that everything was just referencing from each to from each other. So you end up with something like this, and then this one also need to have access to here and to here, which you can see it starting to become a whole mess. So, but now comes the question, how are we able to solve this? Well, if we are, remember, the game engine that I created works in such a way that we have also the scene and there you go. We have a scene, and normally you have and inside the scene you have things with game objects. Game objects. Right? By the way, if you don't want to see all this explanation, then please please say to me. Then we can go ahead and start with the actual animations. But I thought maybe it's also interesting to show the little bit of the infrastructure before we're going to start with the animations. So in the game engine, normally you have the scene, and it get access to, and then we have we have game objects. So we already have a central place where we can place everything. No, I don't want to add a line. There you go. Let's remove this one and remove this one. So this has a relation with this one, and this one has a relation with this one. So, but now what we can do is placing this one over here and place this one over here. And then this one and this one doesn't have to be able to talk to each other anymore, because basically the central place where you really want to have the information is basically here. So you have a nice central place where all the data is coming from, and that way we can add the additional objects just fine, and that also makes the code a lot cleaner, in my opinion. Also, it's quite fun that I can explain things with the editor where we also going to work in, right? let me know what you think of it. So that's the whole part what I did. If I'm just going to quickly deep dive in the code, then to have an understanding what I am all talking about is in here. You have in the main game object, you can now see that, for example, if it wants to access the visual data, first it needs to talk to the scene, then it has the visual data, and then the actual data. And you have in here, you have an object, it's called visual data, which is containing all the actual data. And that way we have everything referencing to the central place. Also, the main scene is now making sure that we can ask, is the key down? Is the key pressed? Is the mouse down? Is the mouse up? Because we cannot ask directly if we really want to on raylib if the mouse is down, for example, because in some situations we want to block it. Show me what I mean with this is that in here you have, for example, if I'm pressing with my left mouse button, then I am going to add stuff. But if if I'm here, then you don't want to add something. You see, that's it only works when I am really going down, start getting down here. So that's the whole point behind it. All right. Enough talk. Let's start with the actual fun stuff. And that's making animations. So what's the first thing that we want to do? The first thing what we want to do is making it blink. And actually, funny enough, I have a nice example what we want to what we have is that if you have seen on my previous channel, not on my previous channel, on my channel, I'm just going to launch one of my videos. Yes, it's this one, and I am going to then in here. Not here, but here, there you go. Somewhere in here. Yes, exactly this. You saw that it was blinking up and down. And that's something that I am going to add, because yes, this is being created in the same system that we just are designing, but I really like to add this. Also interesting that you are now also seeing this animation. I also really like to add this in the current stream. But here, what we basically did is that this animation I just added in post processing with the visual in my video editing software. It was not really supported yet in the current version. I just, funny enough, I have in my main game object. It's actually kind of funny that in here you can see that it's commented out, and this is exactly the code that I used for one of the videos that I created. All right, let's add that blinking animation, and we really wanted to have it that it's only going to enable when we are enable it from the tool window. And we are talking about the node, of course. So in here we have something that's called, first we need to know what kind of speed we want. That's called float animation speed in milliseconds. Get set, and then let's put it by default to 1000. Also, we want to have it, we want to enable it, right? Animation enabled, which is false. By the way, funny thing is that before I'm going to continue, I just want to explain everything before I am, so you're not going to get confused. In here, if right click, then I'm using the IamGUI library. And I made sure that inside the editor, when the current one is active, then we have, yeah, you can see it here. Then I'm just simply setting the interface of that specific item, which can be a line or a node now, to this object. And basically in the interface, we are calling onEdit draw. And in here, you can see we have two implementations, and here we are setting the IamGUI stuff. So to make sure that we are able to enable it, we need to make sure that it's available in the editor. The only annoying part is that because I am using a getter and a setter, I cannot use the ref in here. So I first need to set it to a local variable and then put it back. Let's first do that. Animation, let's call it animation enabled is animation. Are we in the Are we in the correct one? Or, oh, wait. Ah, I'm an idiot. Haha. I'm putting it in the wrong one. Doesn't matter. Just put it in here. There you go. All right. Animation enabled and animation speed. And we also want to assign it back. Thank you, Ryder, for the suggestions. Makes the life easier. Animation ref. There you go. Ref animation speed, and we cannot solve slider. No, that's logical because it's a float. There you go. It's not always perfect, but don't we have something like just an input float? Because there you go. Yes. Step fast. Can we not just do it like this? All right. Can we now edit it? Let's check. Pop. Yes. We have an animation and we can Yes, we can do it. That's cool. All right. So, but the thing is that I also want to make sure that it's always positive. Mod.abs. There you go. Then we safeguarding it that it's always a positive value. Let's quickly check. Always check if that is working, right? Cool. Let's assign it and drag it. And if I'm now trying to put it to minus, there you go. It's going to ignore it. Perfect. Cool. All right. But now comes the question, how are we going to animate it? Well, I really would like to manipulate it with just the opacity. Also, in my editor, in my engine, we have more ways to do it. So in here, we are putting the public dot, let's call it, we have the timer on and we have the fixed timer. This one is kind of interesting. On editor draw. Oh, that's actually funny. Because I don't think that I can change the time on the fly. But let's see. Is a new fixed timer. Yes, and then we calling it with the. Can I do this? No, I cannot do this. Let's put a default. And on initialize, we are setting the animation timer to animation speed. I have. Can I change the timer on the fly? Change speed. Cool. It's possible. But to clarify what this one is doing, you can specify a time. And in here you have the power. The most powerful thing behind this timer is that or you get an output and then in one update cycle it will be true or false. Or we have the normalized elapse, which basically means that it's going from 0 to 1 within that specific time. And then it's just simply going to repeat it. Let's do... And I think it will be easier to just have the normalized value checked on the upper hand. Also, we really like to have the animate change speeds with the animation speed ms. So we are making sure that when we are changing the value, that it's going to update the speed. Then we have the on-draw logic. Also, before I forget, we also need to make sure that we are updating it. And we have somewhere a place where we can, yeah, there you go, the update, animation.update delta time, because this timer, why is it, by the way, oh, it's public. No, we're not going to put it to public. It's not necessary. Animation timer. All right. So in that regard, we are, let's see, yes. Because this animation timer is based on the cycle times of the delta time. It doesn't really work with the real time. Because, for example, if in your game you want to have things twice the speed, for example, then you can just do it. So that's the reason why it's not using the real world time. But now we're going to ask for the for the timer normalized is if it's the animation is enabled, then we're going to ask it what the normalized value is, and otherwise we're going to say it's just 1. And the reason why I'm doing this is then we don't have to put if statements everywhere to check if the animation is really running. Um, There you go. There you go. Color is yes. All right. Then we are going to put color 1. We're going to manipulate color 1 and color 2 with raylib dot color. Do we want to have color alpha or do we want to do a color lerp? I think it's better to do a color lerp. Yes. So we're going to pass in the color in here, and we are going to say new color dot 0000, because there is no predefined variable for this. And then we're going to say the normalized timer normalized. And then we are changing the color of this one. Color, yes. And oh no. And we also really like to do the same thing with let's see, color 2. All right. But we want to do it the other way around. Otherwise, it's going to be invisible for the whole time. There you go. Also, we are doing somewhere valid move. Editor is open. And we should also do some. We should also have somewhere the background color. Somewhere. Correct. Background color. Yes. So for background color is color raylib, color lerp. There you go. All right. Then we are putting to false. Then yeah, that's fine. Background color. Yes. There you go. Put it to false. All right. This should be it. Then we have the, and I think it's just going to pok. Let's see if it's if this thing, if it's working. There you go. All right. And it's broken. Well, we have a way to now completely hide it. Never works on the first try. right line. Timer normalized. Why are we not getting the normalized value? Which is a bit odd. All right. Let's see if it's going to work. Let's make sure. Oh, wait. I still have a strange console log open. All right. No line, no text note. And let's see why it's not animating. And we are offline, of course. Why is it? All right. Sorry for the... oh. All right. Let's continue. We were trying to get the animation working. And now we can see that it's... You can see here that it's putting a 1. But if I'm putting the animation, then it's 0. And I think that I already know why. Because I think it's... Oh, timer. Animation enabled. Normalize elapse. That's odd. All right. Let's try it again. Let's add an animation. Done. And yes, it's now disappeared, but doesn't matter. Because the... Why is the animation timer? Because the funny thing is that I'm using this thing everywhere. And I don't know why it's now... It's true. So it should work. Fix timer on update. Oh, wait, are we not calling to update? Really? Is that the issue? No. Ah, yeah, then it's not going to work. Because yeah, if nothing is going to update it, then of course it's not going to work. Let's assign it again. Main game object on draw on valid move. All right. Let's on the main scene. Yeah, on update. Let's just iterate to all the objects for each visual data dot visual type dot no, not visual type dot data item. All right, item dot selected. Now on update delta time. Yes, because as I already explained, normally when you the timer is only going to work if we are really going to send an update to it. Now I assume that it's going to work because let's drag it in and let's do an animation. Yeah, you can see. Nice. It works. But this is not really what we want. Because yeah, this is fine, but we want to have it up and down. And the way that we can do that is that because now it's if you have like a graph over here, then it's now just and assume that this is the, let's add it in here, text. This is the delta time. This delta. No, this is the normalized value, normal. And this one is the basically the time with an asterisk. So now it's just like this, and then it's going to loop like this. But what we really want is that it's going to go like this, up and then down, and up and then down. And also the best way is that also if you can do that with some tweening, so it's going to go a bit more around. So faster at the start, then slower in the middle, and then slower at the start and slower at the end, and in between. That's personally the preferred way. That I mean, it makes a big difference. So in here we have the where we actually calculating it is in here. Then the timer normalized, we can do an dot because I have a nice tween utility package in here, which is then we can say normal up and down, and we can do a timer normalized, right? And now I am thinking that we should not do a calculation when those calculations when the timer is running. So by default, I'm going just to put it to 1. And the timer is animation. And there you go. If animation is enabled, then we're going to say in here, normalize elapse, and why is it? Oh, yeah, I need to convert to float, of course. Yeah, this is better. All right, because now we are not doing unnecessary calculations when the animation is not enabled. But now we have enabled the normal up and down, and let me quickly show you the difference. If I'm now firing it up, there you go, and I enabling the animation, you see it's going nicely up and down, and up and down, and up and down, like a blinking effect. You see? But now it really comes. We also want to make sure that it's we have some tweening animation inside it. So we can now call tween dot apply easing, and let's do it like this, and we can do an ease in and out. There you go. And if we're now going to look at it, then of course in the first time you don't see anything. And if you now do the animation, you see? All right. But I think it's better to just only do an ease in. It's actually just, I must say that this is the one of the most things that I really enjoy with development, just playing around with this those animations stuff. Nope. That's also not what we want. We want to do an ease out. And I think it's perfect. All right. Let's do it again. So, there you go. Nice, right? All right. Also, animation enabled and is not, wait, do we want to have it selected or main game object? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And I think this is currently more than enough for the animation itself, which should be good enough. Now we're going to start with a more complex one, which is basically the line. So we have in here we have the line, which is, and what I want to do is that you can see it going to run like this way, and if you want to toggle it the other way around. But let's open up the line. And how are we going to do that? Well, a line has indeed, first of all, we have also another challenge, which I implemented myself, is basically you have here the line, and in here you have a solid one, you have the dashed one, and you have also the dotted one. So, and they all need to be an animation animated in a different way, because yeah, you could. So we're first going to focus just on the normal line. Yeah. There you go. Then we have the start point and end point with the thickness and the color. Because I don't think just an zooming in, zooming out will be good enough. Then it will look boring. But first, we need to make sure that we are animating, that we are able to animate, that we can enable the animation. Animation enabled. And we also want to, we can also just borrow it from the one that we already created, because those two are the same. All right. Always the best thing, right? Just doing a copy and paste. All right. But we also want to have an additional one which is called the bool, and then starts from start end animation. There you go. All right. Then we have all the editors. That's also something we're just going to borrow from the other one. There you go. Editor, no, not the editor, and the node line. There you go. Animation speed, text node. And in here we are also copy it over from here. There you go. To speed up the development. And in here we are putting a separator indeed, which is good. And there you go. But also want to have the animation, start end animation, indeed. Start end animation. There you go. All right. Then we have the start end animation. Yes. Start end animation. Yes. There. Oh, no. No, 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 no. It is cool. Then I want to enable the that option. Starts end animation. Starts end animation. Cool. All right. So now comes the challenge. Oh, wait. Before I forget, I also need to have the timer. Otherwise, we don't have a normalized value which we can use for the timing stuff. All right. We need to just make sure that we are doing an update. Otherwise, we're making the same mistake again. There you go. Cool. Then, what are we going to do? We have now the at least the animation timer, but I think for the for this one, we really like to do an line animation like this. From start to finish. Yes. Yeah. Then we need to calculate the different positions, but also we need to make sure that we have we can also borrow it again from the text node again. And I mean, I thought let's just do the text node as first because that's a nice warm up. But the big challenge is starting here. I can promise you that. Right. We don't want to have it an up and down this time, because that doesn't make sense in this regard. All right. Cool. Well, we can first do a simple one. We can just let it shrink to the other one. Solid, the start and stop. That's good. And what we want to do here is we want to have the start point if animation enabled. Then we're going to say is start point and end point and limited. Yes. Is start point dot lerp to the endpoint, and the amount is that's the timer. Yes. All right. Let's also make sure that we already have support for the start end animation. Then we are making sure that, and also we are going to by default enable this. There you go. Start end animation. All right. Start end animation. And else it's going to calculate it from the end animation. Then we have the other way around. And start. There you go. All right. What does this do? Let's have. I don't think this is going to look nice. Well, it is something, but is it nice? I don't think so. Because if I'm now just going to remove this, and for example, if let's stop the animation for now. There you go. And if I'm now going to drag something in here and in here, done. And let's assign it with an animation. You can see it's not really looking that great, in my opinion. The endpoint is basically the endpoint. Then we are going to put it to it's actually funny to see what's going to happen. I think this is going to look really interesting. All right. I'm now just playing around. No. No, 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 no. Definitely not. Okay. But we have also another way to do this. We can just say the start point. First, we need to calculate the position where it's currently at in the animation. And that's actually surprisingly easy, because we can just use an lerp again, which is the current position. Oh, position is then we really like to have the start position, end position. Which is which is start point dot end point. Oh, dot lerp end point, comma, amount, and then we have the timer normalized. Then we know the position where it currently is, where it should animate. But this is not the only thing that but I think it is also nicer if we just can say, do it like this, and add an endpoint as well. Endpoint is the start point. There you go. Then we really like to have the current position. Yes, is normalized, which is great. And current position. The start position is basically is the current position minus the line dot direction start normalized here multiplied by the thickness dot 4, for example. All right. And this one, oh wait, and also we don't have to do this anymore. We can just do it like this. All right. And we want to have it on the plus for the start direction normalize. And I think we can check it with. Let's see how it's going to look, right? All right. We have the line, and yeah, we have the animation. Yeah. Well, that's starting to look like something. You don't think so? Ooh, we are getting something amazing. But we only have now a few problems. First of all, we are doing an ease in, but not an ease in out. There you go. Very good. Debug. Then we're going to add the animation, and there you go. But the problem now is the following. We have in here, if I'm now going to stop the animation for now, also I found out that it's a bit hard now to click on the actual position, because if you look now, this one, and if we're now going to start the animation for this one, you can see it's getting outside of the actual position. So that's something we don't really want. Let's see. We also need to make sure that the real endpoint, real start point is start point, and I'm now making a copy of the vectors. And the main reason for it is that because we want to make sure that the start point and the end point are clamped, so that they are not going further than they are at the destination. Start point is start point dot clamp. Then we can just say real start point and real end point. There you go. As easy as that. And then we can say endpoint, endpoint. Real endpoint, yes. And that way, you're going to see oh, but okay, I think I broke something. Yes, I broke definitely something. Because now it's interesting. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's an issue. Otherwise, it's because now I think I can only drag it to a specific direction. Yes. See? Otherwise, the problem is that clamp is not taking into account the positive and the negative values, which is not max. Yes, that's should be correct. I think I'm going to make an extension that it's an additional extension. Clamp save. Then we're going to say var min 1 is new vector 2 min. Yes. No, that's not correct. Wait, Why is it complaining? Oh, because it's, yeah, wait. It's not a function. There you go. Now, at least we can do a return. And then we can say here var min is new min. Um, wait. Min 1 is new vector 2 with mod f dot min. Yes, thank you. What's this? Why is this needed? No, go away. There you go. All right. All right. Then we have the min max, min max, min max, min max, min max. Then we at least are making sure that we have the copy. Wait, I'm just going to call it copy. And this way we are making sure that we always, it's always in the min max values. Min copy, max copy, and max copy. All right. That's cool. Clamp save. Then in node line, we have clamp save. All right. Start endpoint. Let's see if this is going to solve that issue. Because now it should not. Yeah, there you go. Now it doesn't matter anymore. And the nice part about this is that now, you see, it's now getting stopped at the correct point. Let's see how does it look when we are putting the line in here. Notes. There you go. And let's do an animation. You see? Cool. That works. But yeah, this is nice, but else we are yes, I am just going to put an else in here, and we are making sure that we have the tall line in here with the clamp save. All right. Because I want to because I want to have like a fading effect on it. So we're going to do a reverse animation, which is called uppercase. Let's do a 4 or something. No, yeah, is it 4? Then we're going to start with 10. Is that really nice? Yeah, I think that will be nice. We can fine tune it later. All right, let's just do it like this, and then we're going to add the eye in here, and what we also really like to do is change the color a bit. So to calculate the color, we need to have yet again, the normalized value based on the 10 and 4 information. So the normal for this will be 4 is the I minus 4. And then let's calculate it that we have like this. Then we have the normal between this one and this one. It should be correct. And then what we can do is then we can apply it here in raylib dot color lerp. Yes. And if it's going to start with color. Sometimes I am rotating it, but doesn't really matter. Color.black, and let's apply the normal in here. Also, just to safeguard it, always make sure that we are clamp it. Otherwise, it will be. You can have interesting surprises. So, how does this look? We will see. So we can add a line, and we're going to start the animation, and well, it is looking okay, but it's the other way around. So what we want to do is minus 10 again. Okay, there you go. Animation, done. There you go. Now you can see that it has a nice smoothing border, so it has a bit of an, how do you call it? Motion blur like thing. Normally, if you are playing a game, by default, you really like to disable the motion blur. But in this regard, you really like to edit. Okay. Then we have the start and end arrow. There you go. You see? Now you have a nice animation. The only thing that I am seeing here, and that is a small detail, is that in here you can see, that it's rendering on top. And I think that the arrows are getting rendered first. So let's copy this one. And let's make sure that we are rendering it after it. There you go. This should solve it. All right. Now we have a line, then we're going to animate it. And we also gonna apply the arrows. Yes. It works. But the problem is that we are in going to color black, but I prefer to go to color.0000. Or even better, not going to black, but to the original color, but then in So it's an int. We're also gonna just going to say raylib dot color lerp, and we really like to have it sorry, I quickly need to think about it. No, it's not color lerp. We want to have it color alpha. Color. There you go. And then put it to 0. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of big difference, but does it really matter? Animation. Yep. Looking fine. And we also want to enable the arrows. And maybe we also just want to add a small draw line X. Yes. Because now the one of the biggest issue is that the line is completely invisible now. So what we want to do is making sure that the line is a little bit visible, just a little bit. So we're going to draw the full line. Then we're going to render on top of it. Then it's going to look great. It's my personal guarantee. Animation. Done. It's looking good, but we can tune it a bit. I think that's a bit too dark. All right, let's do an animation. Then, yeah, that's more like it. Looking amazing, in my opinion. And also the line is now still visible, which makes lives a bit easier. There you go. All right. Looking good. And now I'm thinking of it. Maybe because we have the dotted lines, I know, but we can also just draw on top of it. Start point, end point normalize the thickness, yes. Because are we doing here something with the start and end? No. So in here, let's just do this by default because I need it always. There you go. Then at least we can add the animation here. Okay. So first we are always making sure that we are drawing the animation. Now we are just rendering the normal line. And in here, hit a small alpha, and else we're just going to render it normally. There you go. Cool. Then if an animation is enabled, then we're going to close this one and we're going to render it always. And where is the real start point and end point? There you go. All right. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. All right. The color here can be can be different because in here we want to have it or if the animation is enabled or not. So in that regard, we just have to copy the first starts. All right. All right. There you go. All right. Kaboom, kaboom. I was just thinking if this is going to be nice or not. But let's see if we broke something. All right. Let's open up the line. Then we're going to add and start an end arrow and the animation. Then you can see that this part is still working. So, also a question for you. How do you like it? Is this something visually appealing or not? All right. Then we're going to check if also the dot is still working. It does, but I also see at the same time that we have the other ones also visible. Oh, wait, I think I know why. That's also working. But do we want, we also want to have the dotted one. Yes, it does work, but I think here, there you go. We are still drawing the full line. It doesn't make sense. There you go. All right. So we're going to add the normal line and we want to make it dashed with and start an end arrow. So yeah, I think this is good enough, in my opinion. I was first thinking to animate each of those dashed lines, but it will be a nice challenge. But I think for this it's good enough. Also, maybe an interesting question for you is that should we also animate the arrows or should we just keep it as this? Because then now, if you are placing a block in here, for example, then you have something like this. And let's drag it over here and then I will also put it, there you go. So now we have something like this. But maybe it's more interesting to check if we're going to load a document and for example the fibers flow, just something that I just created as a nice example. So now what we can do is, if I'm not going to add anything, then I'm going to add an animation. And we really like to have it the all way around. It's interesting that it's now shocking. Animation. All right. Done. Wait, but we validated it. Why is it still? Because it's too small. Hmm. Yeah. Problem is that the if the line is too small, then it's animation is not working correctly anymore. Okay, then we have still a small challenge to address. Animation, because this one is looking good. And then we can even do crazy stuff like do an animation here. There you go. Now you can see that the flow is going this way. But I also see that I think one of the other issues is that because the animation is now going until there, but it should go a bit further, in my opinion. So to have the actual animation calculated, that we are making sure that it's going to a full overlap and completely basically disappears, then I also think we have solved that shock issue. Let's try to solve that part. So we have the line normalized thickness. Then we're going to lerp with in here the current position. Where are we calculating the position? Current position is starting lerp with endpoint and start point. Oh, that's actually, I think it's surprisingly easy to solve this. Because we want to have it calculated minus new vector 2. No. Let's address this part and this part and whoa. Nope, like this. Mm-hmm. Minus the line dot direction normalized mine gear sorry, multiply dot touch the Dennis thickness multiplied by 10, because that's the max value what we're going to get. And wait, I think we can just, I think it's better to just do an start point with offset is normalized. There you go. And there you go. Thank you. And not with an uppercase. That's not really what we want. And in here, we will do the start point with offset and end point with offset. And otherwise, we do the start point with offset and the end point with offset. And then, big surprise. Yes. Let's do something in here. Then let's start the animation. Yes. You can see that it completely disappears, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. Because what we basically did with in here with the start and the end offset, with the direction start normalized and the direction. Yeah, now that's correct. So basically we calculated that the line is more that it's the real start and end point for the animation is more like this. But because we have clamped the values, it's basically we are never going further than that. So now if I'm now making it too small, then it should still animate just fine. You see? Now it's also not shocking anymore. Amazing. So now if I'm going to load the document and we have the fibers flow done, there you go. And we are starting the animation with the other way around. Then we're going to try to do the same thing again. And in here we have also the animation, which is correct. Then we have the animation again. No, and then we're doing a reverse because it should go the other way around. All right. Then the bad request is basically the animation. Boom. Yes. This is this is looking interesting now. Don't you agree? Also, if I'm zooming in, then everything is still looking fine. Okay. Which is really solid. Cool. Nah, well, that part is then at least working. Which is good. What do we else want to do? Because this was my goal for this. To make the animations. here, and that you can indeed do things like this. But now I am thinking, what can we do further? I think I'm now just going to do an start with some more refactoring the code until it's end of the stream. Because of we do still have some parts left where it's basically the editor. We have still a reference to the toolbox in here, I think, because the toolbox is referencing when we are if the UI is hidden, that's the one. So let's close all the tabs, main component, and because the thing is that we have, allow me to show it to you. We have still here the visual item with the main game object, and we still need to assign some of the objects to basically, and we can use the nice animation now, to here. But then we need to copy it over to here, like this. So that's the whole point now. Let me address it quickly. Because in here, in the main game object, we have still here we need to do some small refactoring because we have here the hide UI. It should not be in here. So what we can do is we can, in the visual data, we're going to put it here in the scene. We can say public hide UI. Bool hide UI. Which is basically false. There you go. And we have, and the way that I normally always do this is just remove this, and in Rider you have then, you can easily see where now it's basically broken, which is here with the in here. So we're going to address each of them. If it really is a lot, then I'm also going to use lazy mode and just search and replace all, but also you need to really watch out with that specific part, because if you're not doing that correctly, then it will really be a pain in the ass to get everything addressed. So what do you also have some stories about refactoring, and that when you are just starting to develop, then some things are just growing out of hand? Or do you more kind of a guy that is just do everything just nicely designed and make visual diagrams to make sure that everything is nicely aligned? So you're gonna really like think that, oh, I want to do my classes like this with or like UML diagrams or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Or is it just right along and just go with the flow, and then at a certain time just going through refactor it because um, I personally are really just an hands-on guy that just prefer to just start writing, and then at a certain point, really find out what really is needed. Sometimes I really think beforehand what I am really are what I really should do, but most of the time that is after a lot of prototyping and see what really works and what really doesn't. So all right, now at least we have everything gone, and we still have the mouse text, which is that's a more interesting one. People, do I really want to put it in here in the public mouse text? Public text. Yes, oh wait, I already put it there. Nice. So interesting. Mm-hmm. Get set, and this one is equals, and we are putting it to mouse text is empty, and in here we have a few places where we are not assigning it anymore. Okay, then it's going to be scene.mouse text. There you go, there you go, there you go. Let's clean it a bit up. All right. Well, that part is now done. Done, 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 done. Good enough. Yes. We don't have any errors, which is good. We have something that is called editor open. But don't we have it already in here? Is editor open. Block the editor is editor open. I think this is also a task for this one. For the in the scene, because then we're just going to say put it like this. Yes. Note line. Ah, damn it. Oh, that's right. Yes, because it is trying to access the main game object. It isn't. Ah, this is even better because now we have the visual item with an interface, which is called the main scene. Then we go and call it the scene. There you go. And now those are now wrongly implemented, which is expected. Just going to put the main scene. Yes. This is going to call scene. And then going to call this one scene. So at least we have now the everything nicely and refactored. Almost. Valid move. Oh, that's right. We also have valid move. But that should not be in there. That should also be in the main scene public dot bool valid move. No, there is no, and I'm just going to hard code it for now because I'm not even using it now. But just keep it for now. All right. Where is it going to? Oh, of course. We also have the font. Okay. Now it's starting to become interesting because the we also want to have the central scene. Yes, there are a lot of variables now in here, but in my opinion, that is not doesn't really matter. In the main game object, we have the font, which is called this one. And in the main scene, we basically copy the most of the things just out of it. It is in here. Let's make sure that we have the, which is good. But we also want to have the how do I call it? The icon font, icon font. Okay. Font. Get fonts. Icons. Yes. That indeed makes sense. So in here we have now something that's called get game object. Oh, of course. Now it just need to reference to this. Boom. Then at least that part is fixed. Okay. Then in here we are calling it not anymore. Then it's the main scene. Scene. There you go. And in here we have the scene. There you go. Scene. And here the scene. Okay. Sure. Font. That's great. That's great. Let's also address it in here. Because now I think, yes. It needs to initialize with the scene. And we still have one arrow left. Oh, no. I don't care about your advertisement. All right. Scene. There you go. Cool. So now we don't have to access the toolbox anymore. Nope. Not needed anymore. And The main reason is because in the main scene, we are in the update loop. In the pre-update, on the update, here you go, is height UI negative. There you go. Also, it can be a responsibility of the toolbox itself. Is mouse over toolbox? That's right. It's still needed. It's still needed, but I think for this scenario where we are doing the final draw, I think it's fine for now. Yeah, I really like to do a small refactor on the whole mouse, the mouse object, because now I'm basically drawing the mouse for all the treated different items, or no, 2 items, which doesn't make really any sense, in my opinion. Oh, did I made an oopsie? I think so. Font is, oh yeah, font is now not loaded. And that's because in here, in the scene, get font. Font. There you go. Now it should be happy again. Font. Font. There you go. All right. So we still have everything rendered correctly, I think. Yes, the still getting everything get rendered. Everything is still fine. So that's the whole refactoring that I basically the whole goal what I wanted to achieve with this stream. I think this is also going to be the final chapter for the visual editor, and we're probably going to tackle another part of the engine, which is called packaging for the next stream, which will be also a nice, interesting challenge to see if we can do that. Let me quickly show you what I mean with it. Is that because in here we have a specific game, and we have an asset folder in here. And basically what I want to do is I want to make sure that everything here is nicely and bundled together, so we can at least start shipping it to my website, because that's the one of the few blockers that is currently holding me back to not publish this on the games on the internet. But yeah, that's basically it. I will thank you for watching, and I will see you the next time. Bye.